In this video, I'm going to show you how you can use Claude to create interactive charts and diagrams right inside the chat window without having to use a separate tool or a spreadsheet software. I'm going to feed it some really messy business numbers and show you exactly what it builds back. Let's get into it. Alright, so I have here some sample data of monthly revenue for a business for the past 6 months. As you can see, it provides the month and also the revenue amount. And at the bottom, I end with show me this as an interactive chart. So let's go ahead and see what Claude can build. And this is what Claude came back with. It came back with a chart that provides the latest month, the 6-month average for the revenue, and also the percentage of increase from January to June. And then it went ahead and also provided a brief analysis of the chart. It mentioned that February was clearly the low point, but the business had solid month over month since then, with June nearly matching the whole run's high. It also said, let me know if you want to break it down further or layer in expenses or margin. So this is where you can enhance or improve the chart how you like. So for example, I'm going to add the following: add a trend line and also highlight that February was the lower month. And as you can see here, Claude did follow my instructions and added a dashed linear trend line and marked February in red as the low point. So this is great. It was able to immediately build the chart for you. You do not have to copy numbers into Excel and then make the chart there. And what's nice about using Claude is that you do not have to manually clean the data. You can provide the raw data to Claude, ask Claude to clean it up for you, and also to build the chart. Whereas if you were to use Google Sheets or Excel, which nothing wrong with those tools, they're fantastic tools for so many things, you would have to still clean up the data by yourself and then also format up the chart that it creates. You can also use Claude's chart feature not only to analyze trends, but to also analyze breakdowns. So for example, understanding a budget breakdown where you want to see where your money is going each month. So for example, I have here rough monthly business expenses for a business owner. So we have the categories and then the expenses spent, and it says at the bottom, show me this as a pie chart and tell me which category is eating the most of my budget. Now, obviously with something as little as 5 categories, it's easy to tell immediately what exactly is costing the most. But imagine if you had 50 or 100 categories, then it gets a lot harder to see what exactly is eating up the budget. So let's go ahead and press enter. So as you can see here, Claude came back with the following. It listed all the categories at the top and color coded it and then provided the chart. Now, if you hover over different parts of the chart, you can see the categories and exactly how much was spent for each of them. So very quickly with this visual, we can see that contractor payments is eating the biggest chunk of the budget. It's $1,800 out of $3,170, which is around 57%. So this right here is another upside for using Claude for charts, is that it immediately gives you a brief analysis of what exactly is going on with your data. Now, a lot of times we need to use these charts in different places. So how exactly do we get it out of Claude and use it elsewhere? Now, if you go right here and you see those 3 dots and select it, you see the option to download file. However, it only gives you the option really to download it as a HTML file locally on your computer. But if you want this in an image, you can say the following here: I would like to download this chart as a PNG file and not just a HTML file. Now, I chose PNG. If you like JPG or other file formats, go ahead and use those instead. And this is what Claude came back with. It gave me the option to download the chart as an image file. You will notice that it does look slightly different from the original HTML. You'll see that now it added numbers at the top of each part of the pie and also provided the list of categories here on the right. So if you need any changes, feel free to just write it out right here to Claude and ask for updates depending on what you need. And finally, Claude is not just limited to charts. You can also use it for diagrams to explain complex processes out, or to even create a visual of the process so that it's easy for someone to understand. So here I have the following. Turn this into a simple flow diagram. Customers submit inquiry. We send a quote within 24 hours. If approved, we schedule the job. If not, we follow up in 3 days. Job gets completed and invoice. So let's see see what Claude comes up with. And this is the diagram that Claude came back with. As you can tell, it looks very clean and it followed my instructions very carefully. So you can see here it starts off with customer submits inquiry, which is what I mentioned, send a quote within 24 hours. Did client approve the quote? If the client did approve the quote, the next step would be to schedule the job. If they did not approve it, follow up in 3 days if there's no response. And then also when it's approved, you can see that the next step would be to complete the job and provide the invoice. I'm not gonna lie, I do use this feature a lot in my videos. So when I want to explain some of the AI processes and stuff like that in my video tutorials, I do use this feature and it does save me a lot of time rather than having to manually create this in something like Canva. And just as a reminder, you can always change anything that you like in these visuals. So for example, you can update the font color, the font size, you can add a title, you can update the color of each, rectangle shapes right here. So there's a lot that you can do with it, and you would just enter it here, all the refinements that you need. And that's it. That's how you can use Claude's chart and diagrams feature. You can hand it messy numbers or a rough process and it'll come back with a real interactive visual, all completely for free. And as you saw, I tested it on sample revenue data, a budget, and also a workflow. And all three came out genuinely useful without having to use another app. So play around with it, try it out with your own numbers, and also let me know in the comments below what you ended up building. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing to my channel. I post weekly videos breaking down AI tools and concepts in plain English. This is especially helpful if you're just getting started. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.